Nobody is playing around with the Shiba Inu development team. A small bit of the enormous upgrade they are working on was just shown. However, that is merely scratching the surface. The cryptocurrency market completely crashed just now. With hundreds of millions of dollars, BlackRock and other major companies joined in. Of all the cryptocurrency markets, Shiba stands to gain the most. However, what exactly is why am I even bringing this up? Allow me to elucidate. Important notice, even though everyone is still rejoicing over BlackRock's recent triumph over Grayscale, a cryptocurrency that some users refer to as the crypto evil, a new issue has emerged today. In case you didn't know, BlackRock and other corporations began to see massive sums of money shortly after the first Bitcoin ETF was approved. Daily, they received millions of dollars in Bitcoin and TFS. It was widely believed that this marked the beginning of a significant upswing. And this isn't just for Bitcoin, it applies to the whole cryptocurrency market. I understand now the reason behind all this enthusiasm is straightforward. Bitcoin exchange-traded funds ETFs began receiving daily inflows of hundreds of millions of dollars shortly after their approval. The entry of such a large sum of money demonstrated the confidence and cash that large investors were finally putting into the cryptocurrency market. Along with them, typical vendors sell their wares to residents for modest sums of money, much like a tiny farmer's market. As all of a sudden they see trucks pulling up, and these aren't any old trucks, they're loaded with banknotes. All that cash is waiting to be spent in these vehicles. The farmers are alerted to the impending great event by this unexpected infusion of funds. The same logic applies to the hundreds of millions of dollars pouring into Bitcoin ETF. Many saw this as a sign that institutional investors were shifting their focus, getting into the market and perhaps setting off a massive increase in Bitcoin prices. But now we're hit with a roadblock. Even before the ETF was established, there was a player named Grayscale who held massive amounts of Bitcoin. The question is, where did they acquire it from? They amassed a substantial amount over time because they were pioneers in offering Bitcoin trusts for investment purposes. While BlackRock and others were, Grayscale had a mountain of Bitcoin in its reserves, and they were just getting started. Grayscale startled everyone by selling hundreds of millions of Bitcoin every day, right as excitement peaked and inflow surged into Bitcoin. As a result, numerous collisions occurred. Institutional investors like BlackRock were quick to interpret the inflow of capital as a bullish sign, but it took some time for that enthusiasm to materialize into price increases for Bitcoin due to the enormous selling pressure exerted by Grayscale. With Bitcoin as a model, several other cryptocurrencies have followed suit. Equally mired in a rut were they. Still, Bitcoin's bulls remained relentless, and the price surged to new records, over $70,000. Even though most cryptocurrencies mimic Bitcoin's actions, one sticks out due to its unusual behavior. A crypto that is extremely vulnerable to the most significant cryptocurrencies in the world is the Shiba Inu. As soon as Bit wakes up, Shiba Inu takes it to the next level, amplifying all the thrills. However, Shiba Inu's value takes a bigger hit when Bitcoin's price falls. The price of Shiba Inu jumped threefold in the span of a few days as Bitcoin reached a new all-time high. Some folks are still rejoicing on this monumental occasion, in spite of the fact that it had transpired 3 months ago. However, after 3 months, the excitement has subsided. When the market settles after a large price spike, it is normal for prices to fall. Consequently, we are no longer concentrating on that particular issue. The approval of the Ethereum ETF came as a complete surprise only 1 week ago. The crypto market has not been significantly affected since trading has not yet begun. But people are getting more and more excited and curious. This brings to mind the events surrounding the January approval of Bitcoin's ETF. Bitcoin eventually reached new all-time highs as a result of the daily influx of hundreds of millions of dollars. The interest in and buzz about the Ethereum ETF is very apparent among, which is an intriguing development, people who own Shiba Inu. They're thinking back to when the Bitcoin ETF caused a similar explosion in the value of Shiba Inu and are asking if the Ethereum ETF will do the same. Now there's a thought-provoking question. Things start to get intriguing at this point. The Ethereum ETF was anticipated to have an even more significant and rapid impact than Bitcoin, according to many. Assumed noticeable results would be visible much sooner. Reason being, once ETF trading begins, major players like Grayscale won't be ready to dump a ton of Ethereum. However, it all changed today. Although it was previously known, it gained significant attention today. Grayscale also has a substantial quantity of Ethereum on hand. Many are astonished and even enraged by this revelation. for the simple reason that they have come to understand that, similar to Bitcoin, Grayscale may release an influx of Ethereum into the market, thereby reducing the likelihood of sudden price spikes and, as in the past, triggering crashes. But let's do some analysis to obtain a better idea of what might happen next before we draw any conclusions. Even before the Ethereum ETF was approved, the value of Ether increased by about 1/3. But concerns over Grayscale's Ethereum trust surfaced shortly after the real clearance. This trust has emerged as a formidable market participant, overseeing an astounding $11 billion in Ethereum. Now things start to become interesting. Despite large inflows, the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust has seen substantial outflows in the last several months. Fears of a recurrent scenario have investors on edge. A staggering $6.5 billion, or 23% of its was removed from Grayscale Bitcoin in the month after the approval of spot Bitcoin ETFs. If past trends continue, Kiko Research predicts that Grayscale Ethereum could experience daily average outflows of $110 million. We can see what the future holds for the cryptocurrency industry thanks to this analysis, which elucidates the possible effects of Grayscale's engagement. Similar to what happened with Grayscale's Bitcoin Trust, Tony Mateos, co-founder of an Ethereum-focused platform, anticipates substantial withdrawals from Grayscale's Ethereum Trust, but there is one major distinction between the two that he highlights. Grayscale owned around $30 billion worth of Bitcoin, or $1.5 billion in total, when the spot Bitcoin tests were authorized. However, Grayscale's holdings of Ethereum amount to a meager $11 billion, or just 2.2% of the market cap. Although fewer outflows are anticipated, Mateo posits that the ETF's impact could be proportionally bigger due to Grayscale Ethereum's lesser market share. Mateo, however, is still bullish on the long-term prospects. He thinks the Ethereum ETF might follow a similar pattern as Bitcoin, where price drops occurred after the ETF's approval, but then prices started to rise again. In the long term, prices could be driven higher by the constant flow of funds caused by the adoption of ETFs. Furthermore, Mateos emphasizes how Ethereum is more eco-friendly than Bitcoin, which may sway eco-conscious investors to choose the Ethereum ETF instead of the Bitcoin ETF. Those of you who have been around for a while as crypto investors might recall the great fuss that surrounded the key distinction between Ethereum and Bitcoin. The problem with energy use due to Bitcoin's high energy usage, Tesla even decided to remove it from its automobiles. Ethereum is a great option because of its proof-of-stake concept, which is less harmful to the environment. With this outlook, Ethereum might become a tempting alternative for conventional investors who want their money to go towards causes that benefit society, the environment, and good governance. Long-term, things may seem good, even though Grayscale may start selling off its massive Ethereum holdings once trading begins. Plus, right now, Shiba Inu developers are getting ready for possible benefits. Their Layer 2 scaling solution, Shibarium, has drastically reduced the time it takes to bridge Ethereum from 7 days to 45 minutes, as they just stated. Because it fixes a problem with Ethereum's infrastructure, this is very important. Because Shiba Inu and many other cryptocurrencies and initiatives use Ethereum as their foundational blockchain, changes to Ethereum's architecture have far-reaching consequences. Transactions are made more efficient and quicker by decreasing the time it takes to bridge Ethereum and Shibarium. With the launch of the Ethereum ETF trading platform imminent, this update could not have arrived at a more opportune moment. The Shibarium team made a comment about how user-friendly and efficient it is now. Therefore, anticipation is building within the Shiba Inu development team as they get ready for what might be a bull run over the entire cryptocurrency market. So what are your thoughts on the matter? Submit your thoughts in the space provided. Your comment would be greatly appreciated. Click on one of the videos on the screen if you're